And now for our feature presentation.
Class teacher bubble.
And today, we're going to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I keep just calling it Spider-Verse, which is bad because this is now the second movie called that. So I have to. What's happening?
That's what he did when
You're
he was trying
doing
to
the,
figure out.
you're doing the from Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I asked what's happening, I was like, oh, I know. I get the reference.
Actually, I think it's this. I did this. I think he goes.
It's so, because like I don't know. That scene's only funny if you know that Spider-Man does this to shoot the web out.
Right.
But like he doesn't know that anyways, I don't know. I'm not going to analyze that movie. I'm going to analyze a different Spider-Man movie, the one that's actually in theaters, the one that we actually saw in preparation for this stream. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. We're not going to probably not going to jump into spoilers right away, but we are going to get into spoilers eventually. But yeah, we saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is part 2 of the Spider-Verse trilogy that Lord and Miller are lovingly crafting. I'm gonna quickly open stream real quick because I forgot that I should do that.
Remind me, I have a few little details that I want to throw in there. Nowhere in particular.
Oh,
I
sure.
don't want to start with them either.
Yeah.
But I got a few cool things I want to mention.
Well, speaking of starting, Lightning, how did
yeah.
you like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
I really enjoyed this movie. This movie confused me for a few things, spoiler-y things that we'll get into in a little bit. I have one issue with this series that I've come out of this theater realizing, and it's that if I go to see one of these movies in the theater, I'm going to leave with a big old headache. I love the animation style. I think they went a little hard on this one, and this one was particularly a little long. I think it was just over 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
The last half hour, I was having a hard time in that theater. The theater was also hot too, so I got to remember that.
That pissed me off. Not related to the movie at all. It's just like movie theaters are usually cold. And
No,
that one wasn't.
Yeah, that was it was a rough experience in the theater. But no, I really liked this one. I thought it was gearing up for a fourth act, and I was about to turn to you, and I was gonna be like, I gotta go outside for a minute. I think I can't be in here anymore. And then the credits hit, and I was like, oh, thank God.
You knew this was like part 1 of a 2-parter.
I
right?
didn't.
Oh, you
I
did
didn't
not?
know that.
Oh,
walking
yeah.
in. No.
Yeah, that they've because originally they were gonna be called Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and Part 2, but then they changed it.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse, and then Beyond the Spider-Verse. Yeah, this movie was a good 36 minutes longer than the last one. So this one was 2 hours 16 minutes, and then the last one was 1 hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was just, and I had the same experience visually that I had with the first one, but when I watch it at home, I'm fine.
Right. Yeah. No, I think most of it is just like big screen, dark room, lots of colors.
Yeah.
Because these movies are gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and it's the the fake frame cutting.
Yeah.
I think that really gets to me too.
Well, plus every character has like
A
their
different
own
style.
frame rate, basically. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, no, I really liked this movie. I liked a lot of the characters we were introduced to. It's really solidifying, because that first, when Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out, we had no anticipation of a sequel when it was coming out.
Right.
We were like, this weird one standalone Spider-Man movie that they made just so they can keep the rights to Spider-Man came out.
Right.
Looks neat, though, and it's about not Peter Parker, so that's something different. We should go check it out. And it was really good. But I was sitting there like, but that was it.
Yeah.
The end. And I feel like this movie did an excellent job moving the storyline further, not just for the characters, but for the overarching, ever-expanding MCU that is growing at a rate quicker than our own real-life universe. Again, foreshadowing some plot stuff I want to talk about, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was good. It was a good second entry to the series, which doesn't always work out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I think, what I'm the most excited for, because, like, we could talk all day about which of the two Spider-Verse movies is a better movie, but at the end of the day, these three movies are going to be meant to, like, be marathons. Like, they're definitely going to be, like...
Well, especially this one
one-
and the one that's about to come
Oh,
out, I
yeah,
can only
dude.
imagine.
Yeah. No, if without spoiling anything, if Beyond the Spider-Verse doesn't pick up the second that Across the Spider-Verse ended, or maybe even a few seconds before it ended, I would be, like, really surprised. If there was, like, some sort of time jump at all, I'd be like, whoa, it's
Yeah.
too confusing. Why'd you do that?
Right.
It was just, like, not how it's going to happen for
It
sure.
ended in the middle of...
It ended in the... Yeah, like...
It ended in the middle.
It ended at the beginning of Act 4. as
Right,
you're
right,
saying,
exactly.
Which is a perfect place to end it if you're going to make another whole movie.
All right, I do want to get into our first spoiler.
Yeah, totally.
Because...
So if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want to get spoiled, fuck off. We're gonna
Get out.
We're gonna spoil or just mute it so we can have the.
Yeah, because in an hour, we're going to be talking about video games.
Yes,
so,
there's a lot of video
stick
game
around
news
for that.
happened because it's basically E3. So if you're excited for that, like I am, stick around.
Yeah.
And,
but if you
yeah.
don't want spider peoples
Okay, I
across the Spider-Verse,
Oh, you got so close.
across the spiders,
Yep.
into the spiders, then go away and come back in an hour, because here we go. So
Neil deGrasse Tyson's How Spiders Mate
yeah,
is what we watched.
so they introduced Lego Universe.
Okay, I didn't think we'd start here, but sure, yeah. Someone on Twitter was able to confirm, and this wasn't hard, it was just a Google search, but they show the universe number. They're like Earth, whatever.
Yeah.
They confirm that is, in fact, the universe from the Lego Marvel video games.
Oh, wow. Awesome. That's really cool.
It's the exact same numbers that they use.
A few things about this universe.
Yeah.
So in this film, we find out that there's more or less legion of Rick Sanchez's who made the whatever he calls it, that word everybody likes to use now. They're like conglomerate of Ricks.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But
I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
don't know the word, though.
but it's of Spider-Man, not just Peter Parker's Spider people, I
Right.
should say. I'm waiting for them to make that change. I've made that change. And we're introduced to a plethora of new Spider people.
Yeah.
But
I have my favorite.
they we should talk about favorites. Let me
we
just
will,
get
we
this.
will,
Yeah,
we
let
will.
me get this one.
Get your
bit.
Lego thing out of that. I
Yeah.
think we should spend a little bit of time talking about the plot of this movie.
But
before
only-
we get into like other stuff.
Only elite Spider people are
Yeah, the running
accepted.
like joke of the movie is like Miles isn't invited. Everyone else is.
More or
though.
less, yeah. But they're like, let's have one of our elites on it, and we have a quick Lego Spider-Verse cameo, and it's funny and it's cute. And then they come back, and the elite person they're talking about is Lego Peter Parker. And he seems I'm just so ready to get to know more, except just kidding, he doesn't show up again in this
Yeah.
movie. They set him up and never come
Well,
back to him.
Here's something that I wanted to point out, because the scene you're talking about is the scene where the Spot is like invading other universes, and he goes to the Venom universe, which is fun, I guess, and then he goes to a bunch of different things. When he goes to the Lego universe, he's huge. So they are the size of Legos.
Yeah.
So maybe like Howard the Duck style he is in the movie, we just didn't notice because you have to like pause.
Oh
in
my
order to see
good
him on the
God.
floor.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
That's what I'm thinking, because no one can really analyze this movie frame for frame because it's still in theaters right
Right.
now. So maybe Lego Spider-Man is in some of the wides. We just can't really see
Right.
him because we weren't really looking
But-
for him.
That would be cool. The point that I was trying to make though was they set him up for a plot line, for a scene, for something to happen, and
Yeah.
it just never came to fruition.
Well,
which it'll happen in the next one.
Yeah, that's
but
here's where I jump in and say this is part one of a two-parter.
right.
So maybe
I just really wasn't expecting that because it was in the first 40 minutes of the
yeah,
movie,
Yeah.
and then the whole time I was just sitting there like I didn't forget movie. But they got me for the long haul because now we're gonna go back in a year and see the sequel.
That's crazy to me, by the way.
That it's so close together.
It's
I know.
less than a year away. The sequel. It comes out in March of 2024.
It's insane.
That
It's
is-
actually less. I mean, it's like 8 months, I think, something like that.
That's what I just said.
Oh,
less
did
than
you?
Years, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's. Well, I won't do the math,
Okay. Okay.
but no, that's insane. Which tells me because they took like what 3 years to get to this one. It's been
No, it's been 5 years.
It has,
'cause it was
2018, right?
2018, Yeah,
Holy
because
shit.
it was before COVID, definitely.
So they made 2 movies in that time span.
Yeah.
Is what happened, which makes sense when you look at it like that. That's just crazy that they immediately greenlit a trilogy out of this.
They did that right. No, it's insane to me because like sometimes movies do that. Like for example, Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3 were filmed at the same time. They were filmed
Right.
basically like in a like over the course of a year or two. But like those are live action films.
Mhm.
It takes a far longer time to like you say they made 2 movies in that time. It's like great. They still have to like make the whole like that. Like you can't just like and now we'll take this part and put like it. They have to. I don't know. It's insanely impressive to me.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work, a lot of effort, and I think it pays off. I read somewhere that Haley Steinfeld hadn't even recorded any lines for the 3rd movie when Across the Spider-Verse came out.
Yes, I heard this too. Haley Steinfeld, voice of Spider-Gwen.
Oh, no kidding. 2 MCU roles.
Well, not MCU, but yes,
Well,
2
Marvel
roles,
roles.
definitely.
Well, is it or isn't it? Because now that is kind of
I don't
blending.
think they can officially say that it is. But plus there was a direct reference to the MCU being its own thing when Miguel referred to the MCU as Earth 1999, which is what the internet refers to the MCU as. But obviously, if you watch Doctor Strange 2, the MCU refers to itself as 616.
Right.
Even though that's like supposed to be the comic book. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not MCU. But it's got MCU stuff in it, sort of.
That's the thing with this movie. I mean, we got. I don't want to derail. We'll save that for later. If you want to save that. I have derailed.
You know what, Chris? This is as much your podcast as it is mine. You go ahead and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Let's talk about our new favorite spider people.
My new favorite spider people is called Pavitar Prabhakar, and he is Spider-Man India.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's
I
great.
thought walking into it, you were like, I'm nowhere near as good with names as you are, but the pregnant spider woman, you were all over her when we got into the theater. So I really expected you to say her.
No, she was great and fine. I had no clue that Spider-Man India was going to be in this movie. Absolutely not. There's a scene in this movie where they're tracking the dude all across the multiverse, and they're like, oh, he finally picked one to stick in. It's called Mumhattan. And I was like, it's called Mumhattan? Okay, I guess we'll wait and see whatever the fuck that means. Turns out it's Mumbai Manhattan.
Yeah.
And it's basically, until I knew his official name, was lovingly referring to him as Bollywood Spider-Man. He is, in fact, just called Spider-Man India, which I think is a bit lazy. Like, I feel like everyone has a... But
that's
he's
like
just
Mach
Spider-Man
1.
Country. Yeah. That's like first draft of that name. But he was really, really cool. And I think you probably noticed, but there's a scene where they finally go to Spider Hub World.
Yeah.
And they're like taking an elevator, and it's just Gwen, Miles, Hobie and I think Jessica is there. And Pavitar is not there, and I was like, oh no, because I wanted him to be in the home. I wanted him to like be the Hobie character, you know?
Yeah.
And I think you and I had we haven't talked about this yet. I think you mentioned it, but I think you and I had a similar experience with Hobie, which is we wanted to not like him, and then we were like, no, this guy's cool.
They if you were all done, I can this is a good segue.
Yeah, go for it.
I would say Hobie, aka Spider-Punk, would be not my new favorite one. And
Awesome.
the reason I didn't want to like him is they threw a lot of I hate rock cliches. Being a rock musician myself, I really don't like. He was just very. I mean, he was Spider-Punk, so I guess you have to up the not anti-anarchy. You got to up the anarchy.
Yeah,
the anarchy dial's got to be up.
Establishment.
Yeah, which I get. There were I had a few eye roll moments when we first got introduced to him, but then I was like,
his. Hey, it's me was a little much.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
we're just gonna, okay. But then once we got away from that first intro scene and we actually met this character and he was actually like being cool with Miles.
He's the reason for Miles' character development, more or less, in this movie. He just kept, and I can't tell you exactly why. There was just a few scenes I noticed where I was like, he's poking the bull because that's what this character does, but he's pushing the main character forward.
I think they needed that character like that, and it makes sense to do a Spider-Punk, obviously, because Miles Morales is lawful good.
Mm-hmm.
He does everything right, like Spider-Man's supposed to be. Spider-Punk, more chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
it's like I'm gonna say, obviously, if you're a serial killer, I'm gonna stop you or whatever, and I'm gonna do Spider-Man stuff. But also, like, fuck the man, and government is bullshit, and it's all anarchy, bro. Fuck it. I'm not even gonna show you my secret identity. Eat shit.
Right.
You need that figure to show lawful good Miles Morales that, like, in order to get out of this, you're gonna have to like break a few rules.
Yeah.
You know. And I think they needed that character to like show him that, because I feel like Gwen is not rebellious enough. Like, Gwen would never be like, just fucking run away, Miles,
right.
even though that's what she's thinking, probably.
Gwen.
Right? Yeah. I don't know if she's on camera, but yeah.
No, she is. Yeah.
Nick Miner, the artist behind that one. But Hobie was a perfect character to be like, if you want to get out of this one, you just got to break the rules.
Yeah.
The rules that you think this universe has, you have to break them.
There were a few characters. There was a contradictory line with this character that I think was intentional. I have a feeling he's going to pull Miles a bit left and Miles is going to pull him a bit right. So to get into this a little bit, Miles is love interest, more or less, is Gwen. That's not how they started. That's what Miles wants. I don't know if that's what the writers want. I don't know if that's where the story's going, but that is clearly Miles' intent with Gwen. He now has a rival, which is Spider-Punk.
Right.
And I don't even know Spider-Punk's intent in their relationship with him and Gwen. If they're even, what their relationship consists of. Is it romantic? Is it platonic? Gwen seems to want it to be romantic, but I don't know it's really interesting, the love triangle that they've set up. But there was a contradictory line, and I think it was intentional. When we meet him, somebody asked the logical question, why aren't you in a band? And he says, I don't believe in
he says like he says like, I work alone, but I need to, or something like that.
More or less. It was a belief why he's not in a band. He doesn't want not familiarity, when something consistency. He doesn't believe in consistency, I think is what he said, or something to that line. But then there was a scene where Gwen is in trouble or something like that, and he says, I gotta save my drummer. And I was like, that's something somebody in a band would say.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It was very subtle.
I missed that,
but I think there was intent behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, you think there's like I feel like this might be the case with a lot of Watchdog style, like, anarchy punk people like Hobie, where it's like, this is the face I'm putting on, and it's not 100% fake. It's like 10%
Right,
fake. Where
right.
it's like most of this is me, but if you peel back the layer a little, I do care a little bit more about a few things than I say I would.
Yeah.
And you say that was him showing that to us for a moment.
Yeah, that's what exactly.
I also appreciate that they had an opportunity, and this opportunity is always there. They had an opportunity to go full like rom-com with the love triangle.
Oh yeah.
But it sort of just stayed surface.
Yep.
It was like, do Miles and Gwen like each other? They don't know. We don't know. Wait, there's this other guy. Does Miles hate this other guy? No. Actually, this other guy's pretty cool, and he doesn't hate Miles.
I think
and Miles doesn't hate him.
I think Miles went through the same process you and I did, which was like, I want to not like this guy.
Yeah, maybe that was probably completely intentional, because that's exactly what Miles was feeling, where he
Yeah.
meets him and he's like, all right, time to hate this dude. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, he's cool.
Yeah. And Hobie wasn't a dick. I feel like a lesser movie would have just made Hobie a dick, because it was right there.
Right.
They set up all the tropes to make that a thing,
Right.
and then they didn't, which was cool. And that's kind of what I was expecting. I was like, I get it. He's into rock, and rock in children movies apparently these days means bad guy.
You're talking about everyone's favorite film, Trolls World Tour.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but they discriminate pretty heavily.
I'm not gonna talk about Trolls World Tour. I have things to say about it as well, but we're talking about Across the Spider-Verse.
But yeah, I think. Oh, I pointed out while we're talking about favorite characters. I'm not saying this is her favorite, but I saw a thing because people are starting to examine all these different spider people.
Yeah.
I guess there was a Filipino one all up in there.
Is it the wheelchair one? Was she Filipino?
No,
I'm
going to show you.
I learned about the wheelchair one, and she is LGBT in the comics, which I
that's
thought
neat.
was pretty cool.
No,
Yeah, lay it on me.
I'm just going to show it to you, and you take from it what you want.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember them either.
Let me see real quick.
You can show the camera too.
This is not from the movie we watched. This is a suit for Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. And this suit
I got my
belongs
facts
to
wrong.
this suit belongs to a Filipino Spider-Man called Pinoy Spider-Man. Pinoy Spidey. It looks like. Is that
No,
the
that's
pronunciation? Or is that?
It's I'm actually gonna have to, because I would have said Pino, but that's obviously not it. Now I'm just reading this again.
Yeah,
I got
not in
my
the-
information crossed.
Yeah, no worries.
But it's gonna be in the next movie, next game though.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, at least the outfit.
Right.
Yeah.
Neat.
No, that's cool. There's a lot of different spider people, which is cool. I'd argue there was two big ones missing from this film, but we'll get into that later.
Agreed.
But yeah, there was not a lot to. Okay, here's everything I liked about this movie. Everything. It was great. I liked the bagel thing. How the guy you hit with the bagel in the first movie turns out to be the main villain of this movie.
I know. Oh my god, that he might have. That was my favorite new Spider person. My favorite new character is with the Blob.
The Spot.
Is that the Spot?
Yeah, no, he was
He
great.
was
He's
amazing.
voiced by Jason Schwartzman, guy who plays going to be in Asteroid City, but also plays Gideon Graves in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He was great. I, like most people, I'm sure you thought this too when I saw the trailers, because he was in the trailer, obviously. I thought he was going to be in, like, the first 20 minutes, and then we tie him to a pole, and then he fucks off, and then we do something. And then Spider-Man 2099 is the villain for the whole movie.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
the Spot is straight up the main villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading about him, and he's pretty cool. He was supposed to be a joke. Like, he was intended to be a joke. That's what the whole villain of the week joke comes from in this movie. They keep calling him that. That's because what he literally was. He was a one-off, let's just make this stupid villain that can fuck around with Spider-Man for an issue.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to do him again. And then they accidentally created, like, the most powerful, like multiversal, like, portal-based, like super being. And I guess what happened was what happens with most people when they found out about this character, that Lord and Miller found out about it and they were like, how goofy, and then they were like, oh wait, hold on, and then they made him the main villain.
No, he's super cool. His powers are super cool. I liked him as the comedic relief. It's cool when the villain is a tasteful comedic relief,
Yeah.
but also super dangerous.
Mm.
'Cause the whole time I was like, I got some like Joker vibes of being afraid, because I was like, this guy could do like anything
Right.
he wants at any moment, but also like he seems lighthearted, but he's not.
Right.
He's really trying to kill Spider-Man.
No, and there's a sharp right turn from like, I'm a silly dude making jokes, fucking around with my powers, and then it just goes hard right into like, I'm gonna destroy the entire multiverse.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it super easily, and there's nothing 1,000 spider people can do to stop me.
Yeah.
And like, where did we leave our heroes at the end of the movie? Lost in the multiverse, trying to find one Spider-Man and not trying to stop the Spot. Which I thought was interesting, because I was like, obviously, sure, maybe stop Miles from doing what he's doing and you fix something, but I feel like just let Miles break whatever he's gonna break and go stop the Spot.
Yeah.
There's thousands of you.
Right.
Send 20 of them to go stop the Spot.
No, absolutely. Oh man, this movie really left us in a weird spot. No pun intended.
I'm just so happy this movie exists. I don't know, and I don't want to talk about this long because it genuinely doesn't matter. I still think I like the first one better.
Really interesting.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I'll hold out my definitive opinion until I see the third one. But just comparing the two at the base level, I think I do like the first one better. That being said, I've seen the first one like 10 times, and I've only seen the second one once at this point. But there was a lot to like. I love how Gwen and her family are just like super open, like trans supporters, which I thought was really cool. Because Gwen has a support trans kids flag above her door.
Yeah.
Her father has a trans flag as part of his uniform.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that.
And a lot of people are interpreting that as Gwen is trans, which, first of all, not that it matters, but in the comics, she is not. If this character is, sure, cool. I don't think that's the case. I think what probably is happening is Gwen has a trans family member. Because a cop, a white cop, is not going to wear the trans flag unless he, like, is related to or, like knows someone personally who is. Maybe Peter was trans in that universe.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
But I don't think there's a large, like, sort of a soft debate going around the internet of whether or not Gwen is trans. I don't think that, but she is obviously a huge supporter of that, and I think that's really cool. I saw an interview with Haley Steinfeld where she was talking about how Lord and Miller described Gwen's universe as being like a mood ring. How like the emotions that Gwen and her, like, the characters in her universe are feeling, you're gonna like see that in the like color grading of the universe, and you can see that no better in that one scene where she is just like bathed in trans flag colors, which I'm not dumb, and neither are the directors of this movie. Obviously, yes, those are the trans flag colors. They're also Spider-Gwen colors.
Yeah.
And I think that was the point, and then they probably looked at that and they were like, that's very trans. Let's just leave it.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a cool way of explaining it, because I totally get it now.
I didn't pick up on a lot of that. I will say though, just from a aesthetic perspective, there was a scene where she's talking with her father in their universe. In the background's change. This might be the same scene you're talking about. To just, we were actually kind of we're working on a project right now. We were kind of making fun of a very famous comic for having just a plain colored background with characters in front of it. It was a small conversation we had a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Because I was saying, I don't like when they don't put in a background. This movie changed my opinion. I was like, you can cut from, we're in this place to having just shapes or color behind you, and it really does set the mood for nothing else matters but the two of us having this conversation.
Because that conversation,
wow.
The conversation that we are talking about the same thing. It's when she reveals to her father that she's no, it's not that.
No, they're in the apartment.
It's in the apartment.
I think she just came back.
Right. She's talking to her dad about like how she has to leave and whatever. It doesn't matter. That scene, that very slow, very focused scene where she is bathed in like Spider-Gwen themed mood lighting, takes place at like that's at the very end of the movie. Like she stops by there on her way to go find Miles.
Right.
Which is like, the last 10-15 minutes of this movie are like, get that fucker, get him, where'd he go? No, he's lost. Shit, we gotta go find him. So it really just like, no, I get what you're saying, where it's like, hold on, stop everything. Gwen and her dad have to have this conversation right now. And if it's just going to be two people talking, we're going to make even that as visually engaging as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And the that conversation is also very important to the overall plot, because we find out that Gwen's dad, of his own volition, stopped the whole point of this film is Miles' dad has to die in order for him to become like Spider-Man. They all have to go through something, apparently.
They call it a canon event.
Yeah.
And I have a issue about that, but finish what you're saying first.
I do too, but I think it's going to be rectified by this next movie, because Gwen's dad quit being a cop. He was going to die in like a day or two, and they knew that. And she was just going to let it happen. Because she knows how the universe works or whatever. Right. But instead of that, he retired.
Right.
Of his own volition.
Right.
So, obviously, those things can be changed.
So, my question is, why did Miles need two?
Oh, I know, right? Because his uncle died. That was.
They literally show like, here's a visualized row of everybody's canon event, ending with yours. Remember when your uncle died? Now go live your second one.
Right. No, I agree. Because it's cute, and I get what they're doing. Every Spider-Man has that one catalyst moment.
Right.
But Miles, as far as I was concerned, had his.
Already went through his, yeah. I mean, maybe it has to do with the fact that, like, in this version of Miles, he, like, wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man. It's, like, an error that he even got powers. They were talking about that.
No, yeah, absolutely. But
then he goes to the universe that his spider's from, and everything's all fucked.
Right. But that is a big plot hole. It is, because he already did.
It's not that big a deal. It just bothered me a little. I was like,
well, now it's going to bother me.
They were explaining canon events, and but I'm saying, like, the fact that he has to save his dad, and I'm sitting there like, but it's not going to ruin the movie for me. It was just one of those things where I was like, I definitely noticed it. I was like, you're having a conversation about how his dad has to die in front of a hologram of him looking at his dead uncle.
Right.
Like, he already went through his canon event, right?
Ooh, you know what would be neat? I don't think it's possible, because I think it's pretty concrete what happened, but what if his uncle didn't die?
No, maybe. I don't know.
Because it's kind of glaring, and they even draw attention to. You got to assume one intern over at Disney was like, didn't it already happen, though?
it was odd to me that that wasn't what Miles was saying. Miles was
Right.
like, "Oh no, my dad's gonna die. I have to go save him." Which sure, but I feel like if I was Miles, I'd be like, "It already happened. Why does my
already did it.
dad have to die too?" And then who knows what Miguel's response would have been. Let's talk about Miguel O'Hara.
Sure.
I don't know anything about this character.
Me either.
And they introduced the fact that he's a vampire right away.
Yeah. They didn't introduce it. They just they went the next step of introducing it, and we're just kind of like,
Yeah.
you got powers. You got a question? Well, watch the fucking movie. And then we
yeah.
did, and then they didn't explain anything.
Right, yeah. Which is fine. I just like he seems a little he's like I don't know. He's odd. He's got vampire powers.
Mhm.
As far as I can tell, he's the only Spider-Man that's a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
His web is like not web.
Yeah.
It's like pixels almost. It's like Minecraft voxels. It's like a dark side laser beam. It's like not web.
Mm.
So like everything about him is like
A little weird.
just like, and also if you noticed, he doesn't stick to walls. He has claws.
Yeah.
And he digs in.
Yeah.
So like he doesn't have spider powers. It looks like.
Well, I think they already told us he's not a Spider-Man, right?
But he calls himself Spider-Man.
Oh, no, I know.
2099.
But what I mean is, I don't think the thing happened. I don't think he got bit. I think he's just like your favorite Spider-Man from the first one, or Spider-Person, I should say. She just hangs out with the spider. She doesn't.
Right,
I don't
the
even think
spider-
she got bit.
What's her thing? The spider bit her dad, and the dad died instantly, and then her and the spider became friends. Right? That's what
I
happened.
think so, and it helps her manipulate her
she's
mech.
she's controlling the spider is controlling the mech. They obviously they have like an Evangelion thing going on. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It doesn't always have to be I was bitten by a spider.
Yeah, but he's got. They better explain more of him. It's okay that they haven't, especially where this is a two-parter.
Right, of
but
course.
I definitely want an explanation.
I had another question, a thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Not a big, huge, like, it's not even a plot thing. It's just something I noticed right away. Because obviously, Miles is from, like, a universe that's, like, looks like you should be wearing 3D glasses, but you're not. Spider-Gwen is clearly from, like, a water paint style universe. Spider-Man Noir is black and white, and obviously Penny is an anime, and they're all from their own things, right? Here's a Lego one. Here's the live-action one. When the Vulture shows up at the beginning of this movie, Spider-Gwen says to him, "Whoa, you're like made out of paper or something." So do they know? Like, and then we meet Hobie, and Hobie is made out of like magazine cutouts.
Yeah.
He's made out of like newspaper and shit like that. Do they see he's constantly changing?
I think they
see
must.
that?
I think that was a confirmation that they
That's
know.
weirder to me.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, oh, that's so cool. All these, because you barely visit any other multiverses other than Miles in the first movie. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Hers looks like that, and his is neat too. Oh, he's from a cartoon, obviously, and he looks like this when he's in his universe. And then as soon as Vulture shows up, she's like, "You're not from my universe. You're made of paper." And I was like, what? You can see. And then Hobie shows up, and Hobie's like the most visually like he's always moving, always changing visually. And I was just like, so does he know? Like, does that hurt? Like, did they see him change? Like, what? Like, you just know, I guess.
Makes me wonder. I really want a bit of dialogue about live action.
Yeah, that was the other thing. There was live action people in this, which was,
and then they have to question their own existence as living beings.
Yeah. Let's get into that. So they visited. they visited the woman, the character from Venom. Great, cool. Have you ever seen the Venom movies? I haven't either.
I didn't think it fucking mattered, and then they made this series a thing, and now they're even teasing Venom shit in my fucking Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So I'm really sitting here. This movie put me over the edge of like, say it. Say it's part of the MCU, or say it has nothing to do with it.
I think, okay, so here's what happened. They show the woman from Venom. They don't show Tom Hardy. Then they show old footage, but it is footage of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
They showed both of them. Then they had the Donald Glover as Aaron Rodgers thing.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Glover, who voiced Spider-Man in one of the TV shows, played Aaron Rodgers in Spider-Man Homecoming. Aaron Davis. I said Aaron Rodgers. I think that's a baseball player. Aaron Davis. My
yeah.
bad. He plays Aaron Davis. It's the scene where Tom Holland Spider-Man webs him to a car, and he's like, "You got to cut me," and he's like, "No, it'll wear off."
Mm-hmm.
So that character is Aaron Davis, Miles Morales' uncle. Miles Morales obviously not in the MCU yet. But then in this movie, they show him straight up dressed as the Prowler. Not a confirmation that was from the Tom Holland Spider-Verse.
Right.
It was just the actor who played Aaron Davis in the MCU.
Kind of implement. Like, it feels to me that might be a plot line in the fourth one.
Well, that's the other thing I want to talk about, because they didn't show Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
They did so much without showing Tom Holland. There's a scene where he's running through like those things that are in every fucking cop movie where it's like a bad guy,
like a cutout.
A cutout of
pops
a
up.
bad
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Shoot that one, but don't shoot the one of Ashley from Resident Evil 4. One of those was Doc Ock, and he says, "Hello, Peter," and the "Hello, Peter" he says is the line from Spider-Man No Way Home. So they have that. They have the Venom verse. They have the guy from Homecoming. They have the other two Spider-Men who are already in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't show or mention or play a voice clip from Tom Holland. So I think that either they're super duper not allowed to,
Right.
or we're going to get some sort of big, huge, like maybe even a newly acted scene from Tom Holland in the third movie.
That would be really
in
cool.
the third Spider-Verse movie.
That would be really cool. If that happens, fuck you. It's part of the MCU.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm kind of hesitant to be like, well, Across the Spider-Verse isn't MCU, because the one person we need to see to confirm that was Tom Holland, and we didn't see him.
right. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that there's two roads, and it's definitely down one of them. Either they're building it up, or there is some super duper legal reasons they can't show them, because they showed everything they owned. They literally put it all on a platter for us.
Yeah.
The only thing they didn't show, I think, was the live action vampire. What's his name?
Oh, Morbius.
Yeah, I think that was the only thing Sony owns that they didn't show.
Like, we could have missed it because we've never seen that movie.
Right. That's true. It could have been in there, and you and I just don't know. But I was sitting there. I was like, yep.
Sorry, you're like the real Spider-Man vampire. I was like, huh?
No. No, just the real Sony-owned Marvel vampire.
Yeah.
Because they literally...
Well, he is a Spider-Man villain. Morbius is.
Yeah. No, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, I knew he wasn't a... Yeah.
Right. No, I was like, what does he mean? I was like, oh, yeah, there is literally...
a vampire related
to
the Spider-Man...
Who got his own movie.
Yeah.
Played by the lead singer.
Owned by Sony.
30 Seconds
Sony,
to Mars.
the whole point I was trying to make was Sony threw everything they owned in this movie.
Right.
Went even as far as what seems like they legally could to tiptoe that the MCU is part of it. Even they made mention of Tom Holland.
Yes, they did.
They did do that.
They said the word Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly they're allowed to talk about comic book characters that aren't spider-related.
Right.
That's like a third layer of enjoying this movie is like trying to figure out what they have the rights to,
right?
And what they're allowed to, and how cool Disney was with this movie.
I'm really anticipating. Disney has obviously been on a kick of putting all of Marvel under one roof again.
Mm.
I mean, they bought Fox. They didn't have to buy Fox, but you know what Fox owns? X-Men.
Right.
Um,
Fantastic Four.
Right.
But
I'm anticipating them buying Sony, or
I have to imagine that it can't just be that, right?
There's a lot of properties. They got The Simpsons. They got a lot out of the Fox buyout.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me that Marvel has to be their number one grossing thing. I mean, Star Wars, no, not today.
Right.
Not right now.
Yeah, no, it's got to be, because Star Wars, good or bad, whatever you want to call it, like, it's been a little like there was a movie for a year for a good 2 or 3 years, and then it was like every couple of years, and then there's a fuck ton of TV shows, right?
Yeah.
But as far as like where the money's at, Marvel still has like 4 movies
yeah.
a year, and even though Phase 4 everyone says was bad and a lot of people didn't like a lot of the projects that was there, we still all went to go
Mhm.
see them. And like MCU is always like at the behest of the last movie they made. So as far as regular fans are concerned, the MCU can do no wrong right now because the last movie they made was fucking incredible. It was Guardians 3.
Yes. But my point being, Disney's clearly willing to shell out to get. Like, you can't tell me that the X-Men weren't top priority
Oh,
as
no,
to
I'm
why they
sure-
bought Fox.
I'm sure X-Men and Fantastic Four was like 60% of
Right.
the reason they even started talking about it.
So I can only imagine. I mean, Tom Holland is coming to a close. I'm pretty sure we're guaranteed 4. Well, we're guaranteed 4. I think, but after that, it's up in the air. I don't think we're guaranteed anything.
No,
after
I'm
that.
pretty sure we're getting a 4, 5, and a 6.
Really?
I think
Oh,
so.
okay.
I'll
I could be
Google it
wrong.
because I don't want to. Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then I really anticipate, if they haven't already, Disney throwing an offer out to Sony, not to buy the company, although they probably could, but at least to buy back Spider-Man. This deal's been going on. It went sour once, and clearly they want to keep it going. But yeah, I don't know. I guess Sony really doesn't want to part, obviously. I don't know.
Okay,
I just think
so-
something's got to
so-
give.
So, we're kind of both right. The only one that's been confirmed right now is a 4th Tom Holland movie.
Yeah.
Their plan is to spin that into a trilogy, into
Oh, no
2
shit.
more after that. But
Oh,
as of
okay.
right now, the official word is 1 more.
Yeah.
Not 1 more and then he's done, just what's been announced
And then
right
they
now.
got to go back to the table.
Yeah, one more, and then they have to financially look at how everything's going to play out.
And that's what I'm saying is next time they sit down to do that, I think there's going to be an offer made.
And I don't think that
Sony's going to go for it.
Sony's going to budge for a schmeckant because specifically because of these Spider-Verse movies. Because
Absolutely.
they're so good and so profitable, and for once, Sony, a big, huge corporation, went to the creators of the thing, and they were like, just do whatever you want. And then they did, and the movie is better for it.
Here's the thing, though, right? Morbius and Venom, as successful
Yeah,
as they
what
might
about 'em?
be, clearly aren't
And
driving.
Venom 2.
in-
There's 2 Venom
right.
movies now.
But I just mean the IPs.
yeah, I
They're
know.
clearly not getting all the MCU fans.
No.
They're not getting everybody. Spider-Verse IP is doing very well, but where do you go once that's done? You have to make a Spider-Man thing every couple of years, or you actually flat out lose the rights to Spider-Man.
Is that still true?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think that's why all this shit's been coming out.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason the Spider-Verse IP exists, is because they needed to do something with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I think it
have
was
a
in
feeling that
between
what
Tom
probably-
Holland movies.
What probably happened was Lord and Miller had a Spider-Verse idea that was a little too ambitious, and Sony was like, no. And then it came time, and they were like, fuck, just make it. Just
Yeah.
make it. And they made it. It was exceptional. They were like, whoa, hold on.
How
Maybe
long-
we make more of these.
Exactly, and they're going to be set for probably the next decade doing this. They could
Yeah.
probably milk it for another decade or at least another 5 years. After that, though, how long do they want to deal with that headache? How long is Spider-Man going to be profitable for?
Right.
And I mean that as in, how long is Spider-Man outside of the MCU? How many villains are you going to take and make? You're really going to make, 5 Venom movies? Who's next? You going to make 5 Hobgoblin movies? How many of these do you make
Right.
until it's just not worth it anymore? I think that might, if they look far enough ahead, I think that might be reason enough to say, you know what, make us a really good offer, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, so as far as
Hey, Toga, welcome on in.
as far as live action Sony-led Spider-Man IP movies go, it seems like later this year, October 6th, there's going to be a Kraven the Hunter movie.
Mm-hmm.
Still going with the whole like let's make a movie about Spider-Man villains.
That's
but
what. How
not-
many of those can you do?
Well, they're gonna do 3 in 2024
Jesus.
because they have an El Muerto movie. Not quite even sure what that is. They have a Madame Web movie, and then they have an untitled Venom threequel.
Do they think that this is driving people to the theater? I don't give a shit. I'm not going to watch any of them.
So they settled a minor Spider-Man related character, El Muerto, a wrestler who is. Oh, it's the wrestler. So it's they're making a movie about the luchador wrestler Spider-Man, and it's going to be played by Bad Bunny, the guy who played Mi Corazon in Bullet Train.
Mm.
The guy with the.
Yeah, no, I know.
yeah.
I don't care. I'm
No,
sorry.
I don't care either.
You know what would make it way more interesting, though? Can I tell you honestly?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, if they put fucking Spider-Man in
the
it,
character.
that would be
known as
really cool.
Spider-Man?
that would be so cool. The dead in Spanish, El Muerto.
Oh no, I knew that.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how it related to Spider-Man. But
I
now
said it in the most white way I could. It wasn't intentional. We are coming up to about an hour, and I'm sure some people want to hear some video game news. I have a suggestion to end this podcast.
Oh sure, yeah.
Do we want to see what our good friend, El Muerto, thought of the first Spider-Man movie?
No.
No?
One, we've already read that review.
Oh,
from him.
no.
2, fuck that guy. Stay away from my Spider-Verse review.
No, not Spider-Verse. Tobey Maguire. I want to
no,
know
I
what
know.
he
I
thought.
just stay away from my
Oh, I see. This
Spider-Verse
podcast.
discussion.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spider-Verse
Fair
is too
enough.
sacred. What do we got? Oh yeah. Let me just see if there was anything else I wanted to mention. There was just a lot of spider people in this movie. We got not just an appearance of what they're calling Insomniac Spider-Man, but we also got Genki playing Insomniac's Spider-Man on his TV.
Oh, yeah,
in his dorm room, like literal footage of the video game being played, which is once again crazy because Miles is a character in that game,
Yeah.
and you know
Yeah.
his secret identity. So that's there's a scene in my I'll never forget it. There's a scene in Arrow, the TV show, where they're playing Injustice 2, but
oh.
clearly there was some sort of rights issue because if you remember, Injustice 2 had guest characters,
Mhm.
so the two people playing are playing as Raiden and Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. So why play Injustice 2 if
Right.
you're not allowed to play as
Right.
well, 9 characters who are on this show are in this fucking game, so I guess just play as Sub-Zero.
You can see, I don't mind that. Like, I'm willing to walk away from the fact that in that game people know there's like if Spider-Man existed, yes, somebody's gonna make a video game about Spider-Man.
Right,
You know?
of course. But you show footage from Spider-Man 2014, I think that's when that game came out, right? No, couldn't be. 2014. 2018.
that's crazy,
Spider-Man
yeah.
2018. And, like, I know that Miles is in that game and he gets bit by a spider. And
No, I know. See, that part I'm willing to look away
you
from.
want to know who
That
else is
doesn't
in that
bother
game?
me.
You want to know what other characters in that game? Genki, the guy playing that video game.
All right, that's because I was gonna make an argument like, well, yeah, there's 2 Spider-Mans, or there was in that universe at least. Like, but you're right. The guy playing that video game is in that video game. That is weird. That is a weird thing that they did.
It's just a little weird. Like, it's only weird because I'm thinking about it too
Right,
much. Right,
right.
It didn't ruin the. I didn't stand up in the theater like, hang on a second, everyone.
I was willing to look past all of it, but that one detail is a little too funky for me. I would be okay with Miles playing it because Miles is Spider-Man is a famous figure,
Right.
but like that dude isn't. That dude is not.
Yeah. God, I'm so excited. for
That makes less sense than if you and I popped up in a video game because even at least we're like 0.001% of the internet, you know? Somebody could find us and be like, these 2 idiots are cool. Let's put them in a video game. That
Right.
dude just does nothing.
Right.
He does nothing. And he's in that video game
Right.
as far as that universe is concerned.
But yeah, I also wanted to, just before we stop, I wanted to shout out like the stellar voice cast, not just the main characters, but like, if I may, Danielle, I believe his name is pronounced Daniel Kaluuya. I believe that's how you pronounce his
okay.
last name. Voice of Spider-Punk, guy from Black Panther and Get Out.
Yeah.
So
Oh, he did
fucking good.
amazing, yeah.
He did such a great job. I don't remember his name, but the guy who was in Deadpool and Deadpool 2 played Pavitar Prabhakar, and he was really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And then like Vulture was voiced by Jorma from Lonely Island, and Ben Reilly, so Scarlet Spider, the one who was like crying about he's like, I'm thinking about my past. That was Andy Samberg
Yeah.
from Lonely Island. And then they did show like original issue comic book Spider-Man, who was voiced by Jack Quaid, which was awesome. Love Jack Quaid. And then there was like, what was he called? The Web Slinger was a standout to me. He's Spider-Man, but he's on a horse and he shoots like spider bullets. And he was voiced by Taron Killam, who used to do SNL and is married to Kobe Smulders. I don't know. It was just a lot of like I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Lord and Miller also made the Lego Movie.
I don't know.
Which makes sense why they have all these connections. I don't know. It's just a really good movie, and they got it like even. I love how in these movies, even the like Spider-Man 1966, whatever you want to call him, or Spider-Man 1933 or whatever you want to call him, the one from the first issue, the one voiced by Jack Quaid. He had one line.
Yeah.
And they got Jack Quaid to voice it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just even the cameos are like, a super famous person. It was just cool. I can't wait for the next one. We don't have to wait long.
Actually, we have so excited for the sequel in March. Yeah, we are. We were talking about that earlier. That's crazy.
I'm so happy that we don't have to wait long, because you and I specifically on the way home, we were like, because when you watch this film, let's say you haven't watched this film, you got this far in the podcast. If you haven't, when you watch this film, the first time you watch this film, the only thing you want to do afterwards is watch the next one. It's like no, please come on. Like I haven't seen a cliffhanger like this in a movie for a while. Like obviously Infinity War has its own thing going on, and that was also a little like, is it a two-parter? Is it not? Oh, okay, it is. But like this is like it like literally ends in the middle of a scene, and you're just like, fuck. So we're not gonna have to wait that long. Like I feel like what I'm getting at is like this energy that I have towards really wanting to see the next one. This momentum is like not gonna like dim down that much.
Yeah,
because it's almost here.
Right.
As far as movies are concerned, this movie's almost out.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's really exciting. But that's gonna do it for our discussion. We both really love this movie. Stay tuned. We're gonna talk about video games. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe.
Our channel has daily uploads from podcast video essays, let's plays to skits.
Be sure to watch on Twitch. We stream all our video game and podcast content live at 5 EST every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Our intro is by Brad Kendrick and music by Froggy and the Friendship. Link to all that in the description below.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.